Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. It's our favorite day of the week. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the work week for a lot of people. And it's Feminine Friday. Let's talk about it. I'm really excited. This is our first official Feminine Friday. Last week we did a topic surrounding what we talk about on Fridays, but it's our first official Feminine Friday, and we're going to start off with something gentle, something sweet, and something encouraging for both men and women. So stay tuned as we talk about this topic today. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, so definitely do stay tuned. You guys are going to enjoy a lot of the amazing things that we're going to be talking about and doing as we progress. And we can only continue doing it if we're able to grow. So please remember to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it so much, and I'm happy to take you guys along on this journey with me. So let's just get right into it. So today's topic, one of my favorite things to talk about is love. So we're going to be talking about why love is still possible even in today's dating culture. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I feel like when I'm talking to people, men and women alike, single, obviously, like, this is for our single people out here. Any married folks or people in relationships, this is not for you, but please feel free to still comment on your dating experience when you were with your spouse or with the person you're in a relationship with now. We would love to hear about it. Any advice that you guys are willing to offer, especially if you're newlyweds or if you're newly in a relationship, because I think a lot of people would like to hear some encouraging stories or words that will help them have more confidence when going into the dating market. So as I was saying before, I feel like a lot of the time when I'm talking to people, girls and guys, I think everyone's just like over this whole dating thing. Like, it's so complicated. I feel like social media has definitely placed a negative view on dating, and obviously there's a lot of new ways that people are dating, not just meeting in person, but people are meeting online, whether if it's through social media or whether if it's through apps. So it tends to complicate things. And obviously before you were only accessible to people in your area. Now you're accessible to like people all around the world. So there's a bigger dating pool. There's a lot more complications. In-person interactions can be complicated. Disalignment happens all the time. So I'm just going to share with you guys my general thoughts. These are not tips. This is not advice. This is just my view on why love is still possible and how it's still possible, despite all the negativity surrounding dating in today's day and age. So for me, let's just start with the fact that love is not the issue. Love is the easy part. It's easy to find someone that you're attracted to, that maybe stimulates you on an emotional or mental level, on other levels that we're not going to get into because that is not ladylike to talk about at all. But I feel like it's so common nowadays for you to find someone that stimulates a certain part of you, that gets you going basically, and excites the senses. So love is definitely not the issue. Finding someone you're attracted to is definitely not the issue. But dating shouldn't just be about finding someone you're attracted to. If that was the case, I think a lot of us would have been married, and I think the numbers on marriage and relationships would have skyrocketed by now. But no, it's not that simple. There's a lot of things that people aren't intentional about when it comes to dating, and they keep a lot of things surface level to either protect their image or protect someone's feelings, and that just leads into a lot of time wasted, unfortunately, and a lot of giving yourself to maybe someone that's not for you. So with that being said, the first thing I want to really get into is, outside of attraction, one of the most important things you need to be mindful of, or I would suggest to be mindful of, is alignment. And that's a whole big umbrella of different things, from your personal views to your personal interests to the way you like to live to how you see your future to how many kids you want or how many kids you guys can agree on, whatever the case may be. Saying alignment is just a broad word, but there's so many things that fall under that umbrella. So I'm not gonna go topic by topic on all the examples that I just made, but I will just give some general feedback on why I think that going into the dating pool with alignment and going into the dating pool with that in mind is important, because one, it will minimize you wasting your time, And then 2, it gives you clarity on what you're actually looking for and what's going to provide your long-term happiness. So from my discussions with people, like I said, all of us, whether we experienced it in the past, whether we're currently experiencing, or whether we will experience in the future, all of us have a tendency of getting caught up in the moment with someone. And we tend to overlook certain things that maybe we shouldn't. And people automatically just put it in a category like, oh, this is a red flag. Oh, this is a red flag. And while there are your things to be cautious of, I think it's so negative to just automatically put anything that isn't associated with you into a red flag. I think that there's obvious toxic traits that maybe someone can convey, but there are things that maybe you're just not aligned with that aren't actual red flags. And just to be mindful of obviously the toxic things, but then the things that you just don't want. And also being mindful of things that you do want in someone. So whether if you're a guy and you want someone who's more reserved, or you want someone who's outgoing, or you want someone who's going to be able to fit into your life or fit into your circle, or whether if you're a woman and you're finding someone who can offer some type of provision, or whether you're a woman who doesn't need complete provision, but you're looking for someone who you can build a partnership with and a mutual understanding. Those are things that you should first sit with yourself and figure out. I know this is kind of a cliche to say, but maybe sometimes writing a list, not an unrealistic list of I want him to make this amount of money, or I want her to look like this, or I want him to have this, or I want her to have that. Not that kind of list. I think it's more intentional and beneficial for you to make a list based off characteristics that you want, on future goals that you want. If I want this kind of family, if I even want a family, meaning if I even want children, do I want to grow in my career? Do I want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do I want to have someone who motivates me in my endeavors? Do I want someone who gives me space? Do I want someone who understands that I'm just more reserved? Do I want someone to understand that I'm very outgoing and I'm very friendly? Those things. And then also things on your timeline, also things on someone who's honest, someone who has integrity, someone who has understanding, someone who's patient. I'm just naming certain things that I think are obviously good characteristics to have on both ends, whether you're a man or a woman in a relationship. But those are things that you should intentionally figure out on your own. So when you're in the dating market and when you're out there meeting people, or when you meet someone, you have an idea of what you're looking for. So you're not coming into something completely blind, and you're not coming in with false expectations on things that can matter, but they're not everything that matters. If you're going into the market and looking for someone to look a particular way or have particular resources, I think you're giving yourself the short end of the stick, because you may find that and then might not even like the person and then end up misaligned. Or you may find that and the person doesn't want the same things you want, or they want a completely different dynamic than what you want. And then you end up wasting your time. And like I said, you're misaligned and you're starting over with someone new, and you're in this repetitive cycle instead of sitting with yourself and figuring out what it is you want, what it is you're looking for, and who could really feed your soul. Now, segueing that into another important thing that I feel like is missing in the dating market, or I feel like will set someone up in the dating market, is when you are meeting someone and when you are dating, taking your time to really know what this person is offering you and who this person is, and the feeling that you're actually having with this person. Like, what is igniting it? Take your time. Do not rush. At the end of the day, I understand that there's certain people that have certain timelines, like, oh, I want to meet someone, and then in 3 months do this, and then 6 months do that, and then 1 year do that. And then turns out a whole year passes and it doesn't end up working out because you were rushing the whole entire process instead of being intentional and mindful, and most importantly, enjoying the moment and enjoying those small things. I feel like it's such a lost art. And nowadays, people are so unappreciative of the beginning stages of something. It is so nice and beautiful, and especially like when you look back on how you first met this person, or when someone talks to you and asks you questions about how you met your person. In hindsight, you don't really realize how fast that time in your life is. So slowing down, whether if this is the right person or whether if it's the wrong person, you can't go wrong with taking your time in the beginning stages to really know someone and enjoy the small things. Like when you guys first meet, when you guys first exchange phone numbers, the first conversation, the first time that you guys actually meet up, the first date, the first time you guys are on the phone for hours, the conversations that you had. Really take the time to enjoy it. And if it's your person, oh, that's gonna feel so good because it was so intentional and calm and collective. And because you took your time, things just were so smooth. It was just complete alignment, complete connection, and it feels like something divine. And if it's not your person, then you'll be able to subtly see where you guys aren't aligned. You'll be able to subtly see where there's disconnect. And you can respectfully say, hey, this isn't working out. And I think that you know it too, because we've taken our time with certain things and we've had more disagreements on how to proceed than we have had time to actually enjoy each other. So, taking your time is a beautiful thing, and you can't go wrong in either direction that you go, whether you're moving forward with this person in the way that you hope for, or whether you're not. When you take your time, you don't give too much of yourself. You give just the right amount, relevant to that specific time period or vibe that you have with that person. And just emphasizing when it is your person and when you guys meet, and all the subtle things like the first time you guys hold hands, the first time you guys may hug, the first time you guys may kiss, and all this other stuff. And I'm going to stop there, but really enjoying those small moments because you're not going to get them back. If this is your person, it's not like you're going to meet them again for the first time. It's not like you're going to have a first date again. You're going to have a lot of first moving on and leading up to that. Like when you guys first make it official, when you guys first go on a trip together, when you guys get engaged and then get married and have children. And I'm not saying it has to be in that particular order, but what I'm saying is when you slow down and you're intentional, you give yourself a chance to do things right. And you give yourself a chance to really enjoy that time period that you're in. And when you look back and you're older, or when you look back a few months or a few years from then, you can really have those happy, favorable moments that are savory. And it's something that you can share with other people to give them encouragement. There's something you can share with your children, or something you can share with your grandchildren. Overall, it's just a good thing to do. And you deserve to be appreciated. You deserve to have that slow romance movie love. You deserve to have that build up with someone, and they deserve it too. So I encourage people to just take your time and slow down. You can't go wrong. Now, segueing into the very last thing that I think that will be helpful to people when they're out there dating is being more intentional. I know I touched upon this a little bit when I said slowing down, but I want to really dive into what I mean when I'm saying being intentional in all ways, in big ways, small ways. I think for me, being intentional in the small ways is really important because they add up to the big things. And sometimes we tend to underestimate how important those small little things are, the small gestures that we have, the way that we move into a space, the way that we may text someone, the way that we may talk to someone, the way that we may convey our feelings, the way that we may take in a moment. Being intentional doesn't have to be very loud all the time. It is nice to have those grand gestures on both sides, on the guy's side and the women's side. But it's nice to be intentional in small ways, remembering something about what someone expressed that seemed important to them. How you dress, how you present yourself, how you smell, how they smell. I know these are like small things that people probably don't really pay attention to until the times pass or things didn't work out, or until the times pass and you're no longer in that season, in the beginning stages of a relationship. But being intentional about how you move with someone is important, especially if you want it to work out. If there's alignment there, if there's connection there, if there's attraction there. Being intentional about how you talk, how you resolve conflict, what you do say and what you don't say, how you show up for this person, how you put an effort for this person. And that's going to look different for every relationship, for every person, because everyone has their personalities. Everyone has their own view on how they want their relationship to go. So taking intentional time to sit with each other, especially when you're first dating, and asking, what is your love language? Asking what excites you, what makes you happy, what's important to you, what do you value, what are you working on, what are you passionate about? Really getting to know the person, not just trying to figure out if they make this certain amount of money, if they have the certain amount of resources, if they go to the gym. Yeah, ask those questions. Those are important things, but don't emphasize so much on things that are gonna break you guys apart, especially if there is a connection there. Because you wanna be mindful, no one's perfect. And going into a relationship thinking that this person's gonna offer you or should offer you everything that you're looking for or your ideal fantasy is doing a disservice to yourself and is unjust to that person, because we all have our quirky things about us that may be a little bit weird. We all have things that we keep to ourselves that we want it to remain private, that we don't share with anyone else. And we all have our things about us that just make us different from one another, especially because we're just different human beings. Being mindful of that and being respectful of that and understanding that there's a healthy way to address differences. There's a healthy way to intentionally find resolution. There's a respectful way of going about it. There's an intentional way about how you show up for this person. Like intentionally trying to understand the other person, especially when you want to make it work, goes a long way. And not letting your pride, not letting the ugly parts about us, right? Like our sadness or insecurities or our faults or our fears. Don't project those onto someone else. Deal with them privately, but also create a safe enough space for the other person to feel like they can come to you with that without being judged, without being rejected, and trying to understand one another. Like, we all want to be understood, but first we have to put our best foot forward to, one, understand ourselves, and then two, create a safe enough space where someone is going to be forthcoming to expressing and understanding that things are going to happen in time. Don't rush every conversation. Don't rush to know someone right away. Enjoy the mystery of getting to know each other, the build up of the desires that you guys may have. Don't just leave everything for a certain timeline, for a couple days, a couple months. I'm gonna pause and say a couple years is a little extreme, but everyone finds their own pace. I'm not here to judge at all, but like I said, do take your time. Those three things I think will definitely help everyone, men, women alike, enter into the dating pool with more confidence and with more assurance that you will find someone and things will work out. Remember, you want to find alignment, you want to take your time, and you want to be intentional. And I hope that you guys find success. I hope that you guys find your person. And if you are actively dating or you think you found someone, I hope that these words do help you be more open-minded and walk into this place in your life with peace and confidence that things are going to work out the way that you want. And you are more than deserving of the ideal story that you want. And you are deserving of the love that you're looking for. So please do comment your experiences below. I would love to hear about them. And if you are married or if you're already in a relationship, please do comment how your dating phase went and do offer some advice to the people that are entering the market and maybe are not feeling the most confident with what's being projected out there. And don't let social media and don't let people sway you from what you want. Be intentional about yourself just as much as you're intentional about dating. So I'm gonna leave it here. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Remember, we're gonna be back every Friday talking about love, feminine energy, relationships, and anything surrounding these topics. I look forward to seeing you guys every week. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.